Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to build the Maximera drawer for the IKEA Section kitchen system. This is drawer 30 inch by 24 inches deep, model number 702656676. So here I have everything neatly spread out, and here's the drawer front that I'm going to be using with it. This is a Ringholt 30 by 10 drawer, and this is a high drawer. So we're going to go over here and show you what it comes with. It comes with two papers. So this one just shows you, depending on where you're going to, like what configuration you're going to have the drawers. You know, if it's going to be a bunch of 5s, it's going to be 2 10s and 2 5s, you know, 3 10s, 15 and 10, etc. Whatever it is, right? So 15, 10, 5. So this shows you the different configurations and how where you would have to put the screws for the rail fronts, depending on where it is, you know, what type of cabinet. So over here is the actual instructions. So this is a little tricky the first time you use it. So I'm going to just show you how, basically how to read the manual, and then I'll show you how it's put together. So the first part, they tell you to put these plastic caps on if you didn't do that already, in the back of the cabinet. And then you just take the two sides of the drawer and you just push it into the back until you hear a click. So I just did that over here. You basically take this, line it up here, push it against it, you hear a click, and then it's in. So this is standard depending on, no matter what configuration you are going to do the drawer. The next step is taking the drawer bottom and just sliding it in. So I'm going, and then you put the screw in the back. So I'm going to show you how that's done. So you take the piece of wood over here, and you notice there are a few things to pay attention. So on two sides you have the grooves, right? So that's going to go on the bottom. That slides into over here. And then on one side you have a finished edge, and the other side is the unfinished edge. The unfinished edge goes into the back. So when you're putting it in, it basically goes just like this, and you move back so you can see it. The front edge is over here, and then the smooth side on top and the grooves on the bottom. So then you just put it over here, right? You see how it sits in on that side. You do the same thing on this side, right? Be careful not to dent your corners or anything, right? You just pick it up carefully, you put it in, and then once you got both sides, you know, sitting in like that, then you can just slide it in. You really need two hands for this, but you just slide it in until you hit the end. Once it's slid in all the way, this edge you should check over here, just make sure it's smooth and level. And then you're going to flip it over and use this long screw. There's only one long screw in the bag, and that's going to go on the back. So you turn it upside down, and then you have 3 holes here, but you're only going to use the one in the center. Right over here, you just put it in and drew it in. Try to keep it straight. If it's not straight, you're going to see it sticking out either on the bottom or the top. So you want to try to keep it as straight as possible, and just take it just like this. You know, push it in a little so it's, you know, it's got some grip, and then just screw that in. So once that's in, you'll see it goes in over here. It's going to stick out a tiny drop. There's no like indentation for that, but that's fine because you notice on the edges the rest of it sticks out a lot more than that. So you know, you just screw it in all the way, and that's what you have so far. So that's the standard part, basically for no matter what configuration you're going to install the drawer in. And then afterwards, right, we're going to go to step 5. Okay, so step 5, it gives you multiple options. And this part, I was confused at first when I first read the manual, but it's really very simple. So if you look at this picture over here, it shows that they have drawer fronts, but these are internal drawer fronts. So these don't stick out like this one. If it's going to be on the inside, right, then you continue on page 5, right? The inside is, I think it's called the Utrusta fronts, right? So you're going to follow the directions over here. If you are going to have it like a standard drawer front, yeah, that goes in the front and not like behind doors, then you skip to page 14, right? So let me show you what it means by the internal one as opposed to the external drawer front. So over here is bathroom vanity. Actually, I'm using these IKEA drawers and section for. I'm using the IKEA section for my custom vanity over here. So over here you can see I got two doors on the outside, but then on the inside we have that internal drawer, right? The Utrusta one. Right, and so you continue step 5 on that page. If you are going to do an internal door front, that's going to end over here. See how it ends inside? This way you can have a front over here, right? If you're going to have a standard drawer front, similar to right, so instead of it ending flush at the inside, it sticks out like that, right? So you can see, I'll show it right next to each other, right? Here's a standard drawer front. It's gonna line up with a standard door. But if you do the internal one, it's gonna be over here where it lines up with the face of with the front of the cabinet. So now let's continue on to installation. So over here, since we're not doing the internal drawer front, right? As you remember, I said I'm going to use that ring halt drawer front. So we're gonna skip to page 14 to continue the installation. Now we get to page 14, it gives us two different options. One is if it's a bottom drawer, and one if it's any drawer above the bottom drawer. Right? So the bottom drawer, it has to cover the frame of the cabinet. Right? So let me just show you how that is and explain to you why it's a different installation versus if it's any other configuration. So over here, right, the bottom drawer has the drawer front, it sticks out more on the bottom in order to cover this part of the frame over here, right? Whereas the rest of the drawers will be about 3/4 of an inch higher because they don't need to cover that. And instead, the top drawer is going to come all the way up to the top like that. So these are all modular, and that's why it's giving you different options depending on how you're installing it. So over here, we're going to start with a bottom drawer. So we're going to continue on to step 5. Now, the part that you have to pay particular attention to is when you install these pieces, look carefully at this picture to see if the screws are going to go into the bottom 2 holes or the top hole. Okay, and that's going to change depending on the configuration. Right, so we're going to take our ring halt drawer front. The words over here are always on the bottom. Right, and that's what it shows you in the picture over here. The words are on the bottom. Pay attention. If you mess that up, it's going to be messed up. Now, we take these. Look carefully at the picture, right? It's going to go on the bottom 2 holes, right? So we put it just like this. And then we're going to put the screws in these 2 holes. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to put it right here. Then it's nice that most of the screws are all the same size, so it makes it very easy to find them. It's these thicker ones. These thinner ones are used later on for a different step. So these thick ones are the ones that are going to go in right here. One's going to go here. And one over here. And then just screw those in. So over here you can see I screwed them both in. And you can see there's that top hole, right, which is not used in this setup. Now we're going to continue on to step 6. So step 6, again, you have to pay very close attention because depending on the configuration of the drawer, where it's going to be in the unit, it's going to change where this top piece goes and which holes are used in this configuration. So over here, look again, you see the top 2 holes on the drawer are going to be used on the drawer front, but the bottom 2 holes of this piece are going to be used, right? So we're going to open up our package over here. We're going to get those pieces out. So here are those 2 pieces, and we're going to put them over here. And pay attention, we're not using that top hole. Instead, we're going to slide it to right there, and you're going to see that top part is not used in this configuration. We're going to do the same thing over here. And one part was a little confusing at first. If you notice, they all face the same direction, right? So there's no, like it doesn't, like they don't both face in, right? So don't think too hard about it. It's just modular. It just makes it simple, right? They're all the same parts. And then we just take the same screws that we used before, the same size, and we're going to put those in these holes again, right over here and over here, and we're gonna screw those in. So once we have those both screwed in, right, so you use the bottom two holes, the top one is just gonna be empty, and do it again on the other side. The next part, it shows it just clicks, right? So how does it just click? So that's very cool, all right? So we pick up the drawer front, and you just gotta pick it up. You gotta use two hands really for this part, especially if it's a bottom drawer. And we're going to just, let's see if I get a good video of it. Hold it right here, and this part just lines up like that, and then it clicks in. You do it on both sides. Right, once you have both sides lined up, you just push it together, and it'll click in place. You hear that loud click, and now your drawer is connected. So now we're going to go on to the next step in the manual. I'm sorry that wasn't so clear. It's hard to do it with one hand, but it's really very simple. It just pops right in. Going to go to step 8. So here are these two plastic pieces that just kind of sit on top over here, and then you got a small plastic wedge over here that goes through the hole. So you see two holes here. There's only going to be one available once this piece is on, right? So this part, the flat part, goes on the bottom, and it just covers that up like that. And then you're gonna have one hole visible. And we're gonna turn over here so you can see it. See, there's one hole over there. You just take that small plastic piece and you push it in to there. It's a little hard to get it in, right, because it's narrow. So use either like a flathead, thick screwdriver, or the front of something just to shove it in there. And then you do the same thing for the opposite side. Again, just pops right on, and you put that piece in. So once those two parts are in, we're going to go to step 9. So step 9 are these pieces. So these, they only go on one side. Each one goes to one specific side, right? So see where this click is? This clicking part is going to go on the inside, towards the inside of the drawer. It just pushes right in, you hear a snap. And then over here, we're going to push this in to hear a small click, and then you slide this part to cover it, like that. You do the same thing on the opposite side. I'll just show you that whole piece. Again, it just, you'll line it up over here, clicks in, slides over. Right, and this is your drawer. Let me zoom out a little so you can see how it looks. Right, so this is how you have it so far. Then the next step is step 11, where you have this small bracket that's going to go on the bottom to help keep it together and from sagging. So you're going to use the 3 small screws that we mentioned before, these over here, and you flip it upside down. But when you do that, just make sure that you got some cardboard or something, protecting your work area, so you don't scratch up your drawer front or the drawer or anything else like that. So this piece, it doesn't tell you to measure, but you really want to try to get it in the center of the drawer front. So I usually just take a tape measure, and you know what size your front is. Let's say this is a 30-inch front. So you just throw the tape measure there. You see where 15 is, and just move it over a drop so you get in the center. Now we take the 3 small screws. First we do the bottom 2. And once those 2 are in, then we take the last one, and that goes in over here. This one's a little trickier to install. Right, it's going to go in like this. So depending on your drawer configuration, how deep this part is. If it's a middle drawer, it's going to be a little higher. If it's a bottom drawer, it goes a little lower. But anyway, try to angle it a tiny drop, because if you do it straight, it's kind of like your screwdriver gets stuck over there. So you just angle it a tiny drop just to be able to get it in nicely. So here you can see it's installed, and this helps hold the drawer front to the drawer, and also helps make the bottom of the drawer not sag at all. So that's that's basically the whole installation of the drawer. The next step is, well, that was 12 also. The next step is getting to the rails. So the rails are very simple to use. There's a right side with an R and then a left side. So they come in two pieces basically. The slow close mechanism, that's this part over here, that comes separately. So this just, you put it over here, you look for the one that's R, the R goes with the R, you put it in the back here, and then you just line it up over here, and then you just pull, right? And you'll hear a small click when it locks into place. And then you do the same thing for your left drawer, your left rail. Again, you put it over here, and then you just have to pull it until it clicks into place. So once those are done, that was step 13. And then we go to step 14, whereas we're going to install the rails in the section frame. So look at the picture closely over here. It shows you which holes to use. So it's going to show you the top, for this drawer configuration, it is the top row of holes, and it's going to be the front and the back of the middle set of the front set of holes, and then the back top one in the back row. So let's go over to the frame, and let's grab our thick screws. So these are the same ones we used last time, and we're going to go to install those. So here's where they're going to be installed. So you see the hole over here and the hole over here, and then this is the section frame. So normally you'd have about a 2-inch gap in the back. So this frame I actually using for a bathroom, and I cut off the back 2 inches since those are extra anyway. Just keep in mind, usually you'll have like a 2-inch gap in the back, and this will just line up over here. So you have a hole here, and then that back hole over there. So when you install these, make sure to use, if you could, a magnetic drill bit, because the screws tend to fall in this groove over here, and they're annoying to get out. So if you use a magnet one, it just makes it much easier. Now we go to the left side. Make sure you put the right. This is the right side. Sorry. Make sure you put the right side on the right side, or left side on the left side. That's you facing the cabinet. Your right is the right one. So over here you can see we got the 3 screws in on both sides. Now you can just pull it out, make sure it's moving properly, and then we're going to go on to the next step. So that was step 14. Now step 15 is we're going to take those small screws that are left in the package, the last ones. We're going to put one in the front bottom and one in the back bottom one, just to give it a little more, sorry, not the front bottom, the front center over here, and then the back bottom one over there. So it shows you in the zoom out exactly where to put them. So once you have those installed, you'll see you got 3 screws over here, and then 2 screws over there. So that's the drawer rails, and now we're ready to just drop that drawer front into it, the whole drawer into it. So that was step 15, where we put those screws in. Then over here it shows 16 and 17. So 16 is just showing when you drop it in, you hear like a noise or it clicks into place. And then over here it shows you these small pieces. These you put in on the edges over here, so when the drawer hits, it doesn't scrape against it. And then the last step is going to be skipping to page 30. So over here it just shows you how to adjust the fronts. So if it's a little crooked and you want to make it straight, so it shows you which screws to turn, or if you have to move it over, you'll use the front screw. If you're moving it, adjusting the angle, using the back screw. Once those are done, then you just put this plastic piece over here on top of it. Usually when you install it, everything should be pretty straight if everything was installed level, but in case it's not 100% level, this gives you the options of adjusting it into place. So we're now going to grab the drawer and put it into place. So when you're putting it into place, you just put it down on the rails, and you push it in. You'll hear like a clicking it into place, and then just open and close it. Make sure it opens nicely. I usually don't do those adjustments on the side until I get all the drawers in. This way I can see exactly how it looks and make sure that everything fits nicely. So this is the basic configuration. Let me just show you that side piece, and then we're done. So those two stickers, I'm not putting them on right now because I like installing everything first and then wiping everything down, making sure everything's clean, and then putting on those side pieces. But this part, it just comes over here and it just pops right into place. If you have to adjust it afterwards, you can just pull that plastic off. And we do the same thing for the other side over here. You know, it just gives it a little cleaner look when that's in. And keep in mind, if you are doing a vanity or if you're next to a door frame, right, make sure that you got the clearance that you need to be able to open and close those drawers. So you see how I measured exactly to make sure that we got the space to be able to open and close this drawer without hitting the casing of the door. Right? The way I did that is I put a cover panel on the end, you know, to move it away from the wall, you know, the proper distance. So thanks for watching my video on the Maximera drawer. This is a 30 by 24 inch. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll try to help you through the install process. Have a great day.